Now, you might have spotted an email or maybe seen something on your benefits page about making use of a share scheme with your employer. And you might be thinking, this sounds interesting or scary, but you don't really know how it works and how it might benefit you in the future. So the whole purpose of this video is to break it down and make clear just how valuable these share schemes can be. Whether you're someone who has invested in the past and you feel that you've kind of got the investing thing done, or if you're brand new to investing and it's kind of scary and anxiety inducing, hopefully this video will help you to understand that regardless of your background or circumstance, a Sharesave scheme can actually offer really good outcomes. Now, I think the best way to think about a Sharesave scheme is to actually break it down into its two phases. Phase one is all of the decisions you need to make up front, usually when a kind of window opens to use the scheme. And phase two is at the end of that scheme, often called a maturity period, when you're going to need to make a choice as to what to do with the money that you have saved. Let's start with phase one. Now, this is pretty simple. All that you really need to decide is how much you would like to contribute on a monthly basis into your Sharesave scheme. Now, usually this will be anywhere between £5 and £500 a month. It might depend on how your employer has set it up. But what you need to think is, what can you comfortably put away into the scheme and not really need access to for the next 3 to 5 years or so? Now, really importantly, don't worry. It's not like this number that you've chosen is absolutely going to be invested and you've lost all access to that money. That is not the case. One of the real beauties of a Sharesave scheme is that you can actually withdraw your cash out if you need it. You don't have to invest the money that you've decided to contribute on a monthly basis. Also, usually you can pause your contributions in later months if you would like. And then the other thing to note with phase one is that they will be setting the option price at this point. Now, this isn't really something you need to stress too much about, but usually what's going to happen here is there will be a date on which the share scheme begins. And let's say that that date was the 20th of October. Now, what your company will usually do is they will then take the average share price of your business over the 5 days preceding that date, and then they will discount it, sometimes by 15%, sometimes by 10%, sometimes by 5%, and this will be the option price that is effectively locked in at that point. And for phase one, really that's all you needed to think about. You've chosen the amount you're going to pay in, you're aware of what your option price is, now you can kind of forget about it and trust that your contributions are being stashed away for the future you. So let's say that 3 years has passed, maybe 5 years has passed, and now we're into phase two, which is this kind of maturity window, which is where a decision is going to need to be made by you. And very roughly, there are 3 options here that you can take. Option one, you could, if you wished, actually take all of your contributions back as cash. Effectively, you have treated this Sharesave scheme like a savings account, and all of that money will come back to you, and maybe with a little bit of interest. It depends on what HMRC have set Sharesave interest rates at. Unfortunately, at the moment, they're at 0%. But think about this as that you have actively saved for the future you, so it's a really good outcome. Option two is that you could actually choose to purchase the shares at that option price that I talked about previously. So all of those savings that have been put away, you now use those to buy those shares at that option price that was set. And what you could then do is choose to sell those shares immediately. And the reason that that might make sense is if the option price is lower than the current market value or the current share price of those shares. So let's say that the current share price of the business was £10, whereas your option price was £8. What you could do is purchase those shares at £8 and immediately sell them at £10. And that would mean you would pick up the gains or the upside of that difference in price straight away. And option three here is actually that you would choose to purchase those shares, again, at their discounted option price, but you don't want to sell them. You would actually prefer to hold on to those shares for the long term. Maybe you think they're going to perform well in the future, or you don't need the money right now. You could just exercise your right to buy them and then hold those shares forevermore. And absolutely not financial advice, but just some tips to keep in mind when you're considering those 3 options. Now, option one, where you're taking back your cash savings straight away, the most common kind of reason that someone would do that is if the share price had performed really badly over that period and it's actually below the option price that was set. Because effectively what you would be doing if you choose to purchase those shares at the option price is you would be buying them at a more expensive level than what they are currently in the market. You may as well, if this suits you, take back your cash savings and just buy them at the market rate. So that tends to be the most common option there. Whereas in the other two options, if the share price has remained flat or slightly increased, usually options 2 and 3 are going to be slightly more appealing to you, because remember, you were discounted in that option kind of price by maybe 10%. So even if that share price had remained flat, you could actually see the opportunity for a 10% gain straight away as a result of how Sharesave works. Now, to round off this video on Sharesave schemes, there are 2 bonus considerations that you should keep in mind as well. The first of these, if you do choose to purchase shares, then one of the kind of sweeteners of the Sharesave scheme is what you could do is purchase those shares and immediately move them into a stocks and shares ISA if you have ISA allowance available. Now, this process has some quirks to it. It needs to be initiated very quickly after the shares have been bought, and also you need to find a provider that accepts Sharesave shares as kind of a contribution. Not all providers do that. The final bonus point I would say is if you choose to purchase those shares and then at some point in the future you would like to sell them, then be aware that selling them at a gain could incur a capital gains tax liability. Now, everyone in the UK has a capital gains tax allowance, which means you can receive a certain amount each year totally tax-free. What might make sense is transferring some shares, if you're someone in a civil partnership or married, to your partner, so then they could sell them in their names and hence make use of their own allowance if they have any available. So worth keeping in mind, those are 2 sweeteners to a Sharesave option that not all investing options have.